This episode is brought to you by Kaivai. Kava infused, naturally sourced, non-GMO. In a stressed out world full of uppers and stimulants, Kaivai proves that more energy isn't always the answer. Drink Kaivai. This podcast is also brought to you by Aloha Jewels by Rose. Ocean-inspired, authentic, gorgeous gemstone jewelry, handmade. Rose is a computer scientist turned jewelry designer. At Aloha Jewels, you will find personalized jewelry made with the best quality materials and best craftsmanship. This podcast is also brought to you by Dackle, not your average island clothing store. DackleShop.com. Check them out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SupaflySua podcast. This is your boy, SupaflySua, and we have a very, very, very special guest here today. One of our sponsors, Kaivai, is here in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Doug here, and Mr. Mason.
Hello.
How's it going, guys?
It's going great.
Yeah. Chilling.
I'm like going slowly slipping into a food coma.
Let's go. These guys just got done with a long road trip.
Yeah.
And we just got done with a nice little brunch at the Bellagio.
That was good.
Fine dining.
Fine dining, yo. It's great. So these guys started Kaivai. How long ago? A couple years ago.
Oh my goodness. Well, it was my co-founder Finn Tafutafua, who is not here with us at the moment. At the moment.
Don't worry, he's fine.
He's holding down the fort back in Utah. But yeah, we're two students at BYU up in Provo, and yeah, we had met when Finn was spending some time doing some missionary work out in California, and I had dropped out of school for 6-7 years, so college dropouts.
Just go.
Let's go. Let's go. We gotta represent. No, but eventually I ended up going back to school, and I finished up at BYU. That's where I met my co-founder. Again, I was reintroduced to him, and yeah, dude, I majored in political science, and legal studies, just so I would not have to do math.
Gotcha. Nice.
and sure enough, the last class I needed to graduate was like advanced econometrics and political science. Like, it was like statistics with coding, which is like it was like my nightmare course. Literally the last thing standing between me and graduation. And yeah, dude. I mean, long story short, I was on a bunch of stuff. Prescription drugs that are supposed to help, for I don't know if you can mention the names, but anyways, I was just I was on a bunch of stuff just trying to help me with ADD and attention, and just trying to focus and do well in this course, and way over, like, just overdoing it with the caffeine, and I wasn't feeling healthy. I was not in a good spot, and those are all accelerants, right? They're stimulants and get your cardiovascular system just jacked and through the roof, and just like I was on the verge of a heart attack, like from the second I woke up, the second I went to sleep, and he's the one that actually turned me on to kava. I'm Hispanic.
There you go.
I am not Polynesian. I did not pretend to be Polynesian, but I'm down with the community.
There you go.
People of color represent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And anyways, and so Finn was just like, dude, you gotta try kava.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I did have a lot of misperceptions and ignorance, and there is a taboo around kava.
There is.
And you have a lot of people in and out of the Polynesian community who don't really get what it is and its function, and there is abuse, not with the substance itself, more the environment, the culture around kava. And so that's why even for me, like when he introduced it to me, I'm like, oh no way, dude, like I can't touch that stuff. I'm gonna get in trouble with the wife. And he's just like, nah, you're ignorant. And so he educated me on kava, and it was totally like okay. And it was something that the second I tried it, immediate, dude. I was like, your mouth goes numb, and you start feeling the effects like real fast. But for me, there were two big barriers. I mean, there was the flavor barrier, right? Which I was very sensitive about that stuff because I'm Chilean. My background, I'm half Native American, and I'm very just aware of people's cultures, and I never want to say anything to offend anyone. So every time I talk about kava around polys, I'd be like, the flavor wasn't that great. They're like, oh, you don't have to be nice about it, dude.
No, it sucks.
We all know it tastes like crap. And I was just like, all right, good. I'm not the only one. But like the flavor profile, and it tastes like bitter dirt water, and then and the preparation, sourcing good kava, and the palu the kava, and you have to prepare it, and Yeah, and so we just kind of just started messing around in my kitchen, and we're just like, oh, maybe there's a way that we can make this taste good and just have them ready already, so we could just put them in bottles and go.
Let's go.
And so like literally we just started making the stuff by hand and experimenting with different flavors and sweeteners, and it got to one point that we're just like, there's no way you could make kava taste good.
Nah,
that was impossible. I'm like, forget it. And so my background's in material science, so my professional work history is in material science. So I was like, well, let me see if there's maybe some food science we could hack here and try to make it taste decent. And eventually we came up with something that tasted not bad.
There you go.
And so we just we started doing it for ourselves, and we had them like in little mason jars, like in my fridge in the garage. And then he started sharing it. That was a problem. He started sharing it with all of his family and friends, right? And he's half Tongan, so he was just like, really stoked to share it with all his, family and friends. And all of a sudden we started getting like orders. And everyone was like,
Let's go.
Where can I buy this stuff?
I want some.
You can't buy it. We just make it for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a really good reaction. So we just started like making a bunch for free. We like just like, we're like, well, let's test the market. Let's see if there's like support behind this. And long story short, we had overwhelming support, and we ended up, making a mass scale version of the original.
Heck yeah,
and that's it. That's in a nutshell. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't get it, it's kava in a bottle.
It is.
Kava to go. If you are a kava drinker, you would appreciate this because it is kava with a nice little hibiscus. Is that what it is?
The hibiscus is the
flavor.
main flavor profile there.
That's what I'm telling you.
But there are 15 different ingredients in there that, like, if I were to tell you some of the ingredients in there, you'd be like, nah.
No.
I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
But like we had to flavor hack the kava. Even with, so we're using a proprietary like method of extraction for the active ingredient in kava, which are kava lactones. Unlike caffeine from coffee or the tea leaf or even synthetic caffeine, it's one single compound. This is caffeine. That's it. Kava, the active ingredient, you have technically 18 different kava lactones, but there's 6 of them that are found in the larger amounts in nature, right? The primary ones. And so you're really working with 6 different chemicals here, and you're trying to create like a chemical profile or chemotype that will be suitable for the consumer, right? Because like you have some of these kava lactones in the wrong combination, and you're left with 2-day kava, and you have like a hangover. That's literally where 2-day kava, the expression or the term for that kava comes from. It's from the 2-day hangover you have afterwards. It was a play on words.
Wow. And
so we're like, okay, we want to work with Noble Kava. Like the second people started like giving us money, we're like, okay, this is a real business. We got to get a business license. Yeah. We got health code inspectors in here, and we got to find a facility and set it up, and pass all the tests and wear the right instruments and gloves and hats and everything. So we had to make it like a proper business, but then more than the business thing, it was the food safety. I mean, people are trusting us with their bodies.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like from both a moral and legal standpoint, like I don't want to screw it up and get in trouble and hurt people because we're just being irresponsible.
Right. And
the kava industry, I'm not faulting anyone, but it's like the Wild West. And so you have a lot of people out there who, they're putting kava out there, and I say with the little air quotation marks, because they put it out there because they're excited, it's their culture, or it's just a great business opportunity. And you have a lot of people from outside of the culture who just go in there and co-opt it, pay zero respect to the culture, and just they want to make a business out of it because it was fun when they drank it, right? And for us, we were just like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this right, like I explained to you over brunch. For Chileans and South Americans, we have yerba mate, right? And that is a cultural drink for us. We drink it in like social circles. It's a bitter drink, so there's a lot of like overlapping factors there with kava, right? Attributes with kava. And so I'm pretty sure that's one of the main reasons I took so quickly to it, but it was also one of the main reasons I did not want to just jump in there and be like, oh, this is cool, I'm just going to take it. I wanted to make sure the community was behind it, we're doing it right, we're respecting it. Because with yerba mate, we had so many people that went down to South America, from all parts of the world, primarily North Americans, and they just said like, oh, cool, this is great. Natural energy. I'm going to make a business out of this. And they pay zero respect to the culture, the tradition, everything about it, right? Except for like the label on the bottle to make it look cool, like, oh, this is tribal or whatever, right? So we wanted to do it right by, making sure that we're running a proper business. We're, safety number one. And and then also the community, the culture behind it. We wanted to keep that because it's just so, why would you get rid of that?
Exactly.
It's just so rich.
That's
it's just so wonderful. It's beautiful. Everybody, you got the whole poly movement going on right now. Like everybody wants to be poly.
Yes, sir.
Everybody wants to be poly. Like I grew up surfing, Mason. I think that's why he's just vibed so well with the company because he's a Southern California guy like I am.
There you go.
Yeah, and we grew up surfing, and surf culture is poly culture, you know?
That's
And so we love that vibe. And it was like, honestly, like some of the darkest moments of my life, like childhood, growing up, adolescence, like poly culture, surf culture was like always there for me.
There you go.
And I chilled with polys, dude, like in Oxnard. I know, I hope some, like we have some of the Oxnard family in here, like,
let's go.
Like watching this. But yeah, I mean, we had a big Samoan community out in Oxnard, and yeah, we all just kind of kicked it together, and it was just cool, man. It was fun. And so, yeah, I wanted to hold on to that because it's a beautiful thing. And I think more than ever now, we need culture in society where it's real, it's genuine, and, you know, it's respected. And so, I don't know. So I was really wanting to do it that way.
Let's go. Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, you can't shortcut that.
Yeah.
It's a process. You have to build rapport with the community. You have to let them voice and express whatever concerns they have or just whatever feedback they have about the product, and you got to listen and implement wherever you can, right?
Yes, right.
And so that's what we did, and it was a little bit longer, more drawn out process. We had the option in the beginning of just making this and just going straight to this, and we're like, no, we're gonna do this by hand. We're gonna get feedback, and we're gonna make sure that there is a demand in the market from the business aspect, but then also that the community is behind it. Because if we don't have the community behind it, we cannot do this.
I got you.
And that's it, like just full stop. And so when all that just kind of clicked together, we're like, all right, this is cool.
Let's go.
And then it's been so fun ever since. I kid you not. It's just been just good vibes. And yeah. And then Sofina and I, we've been growing it out. Had a lot of, you know, people come and go and like, you know, work with the company. And we got some, you know, permanent fixtures like Mason, who's our chief growth officer. So he's helping out with, you know, sales and marketing. And, you know, and we have Cholo from Chile, who's going to help us, you know, go into new demographics, the Hispanic community, Latin American community. I mean, there's so many cool ways that we could just share. I mean, this kava is Polynesia's gift to the world, bro.
That's
right, it's great, dude.
I'm sitting in front of a genius, ladies and gentlemen. These three gentlemen that are sitting in front of me are genius. Yo, first of all, I'm going to say thank you.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
I'm gonna say thank you because what this podcast is not just us talking. It's actually to give you guys your roses while you're here. You know what I mean? Yeah. There isn't this now. If you listen to the podcast, I do have a little advertisement for Kaivai, and the thing that I read the whole website, I read everything, you know, and the thing that stuck out to me the most, and I use it is what was it? In a world full of uppers and stimulants, Kaivai proves that energy isn't always the answer, or something like that. You know, like that hits so hard. And we were talking about this in brunch, like this. Everyone has, you know, there's anxiety, there's depression,
dude.
And everywhere here, it's all energy. I need to grab my energy shot. I need to grab this. I need to grab that. But it's like sometimes you just need to chill, just relax. You know, not everyone. So and so I want to say thank you for making this available. Not only that, thank you for doing it the right way. Doing it, man. I mean, you've done it so many right ways. So starting by hand, starting from the bottom, and just knowing your ingredients. So when you do go to an outside source, you know exactly what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Another thank you is to thank you for for keeping the community in your mind. You know?
Oh wow, yeah,
like, you know, keeping the culture in mind, and not just going off and like, yo, Kaivai, it's, you know, it's this and this and this and that. It's kava. Don't worry about where I got it from. It's kava. Just trust me, you're gonna love it. You know. And so I appreciate you doing it for the culture and keeping us in mind. This is amazing. This is amazing. And Mason, like we were talking about this, like you guys are literally opening up another market. Yeah. You know, that untapped market through beverage. Yeah. Like I said, everyone's going, I need energy.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes you just need to relax. And what's the alternative to relax? Alcohol.
Yeah. Or weed.
Or weed. Yeah.
Well, and look, this is the thing. Like, I don't want to say there isn't a need or a demand or market for like a lot of I mean, people are on prescriptions and you know, they go to certain, you know, stuff to help them out. And I'm not in any way, shape or form advocating drop your prescriptions, stop talking to your doctors. Don't do that. Dude. Like, what I'm saying though is that like, yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, for me, that was my aha moment when I was, you know, at BYU, and I was like just pepped up on all these uppers. that, about half of them were just prescriptions, and the other stuff's over-the-counter stuff that, caffeine stuff that you get. And then when kava was introduced, the mechanism of action is just totally different from weed and alcohol. Like in your body, it pumps up all the euphoric chemicals. So you got dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, GABA A receptors are all like just pumping up the happy chemicals.
Genius talk.
So that's the number.
Genius talk. I'm just nodding my head like.
But this is the science, and it's really cool understanding the science, because what happens with weed and alcohol is that they're depressants that like directly slow down communication between neurotransmitters and like knock out your brain. And what happens with kava is you have the happy chemicals that are being pumped up. And then on top of that, you have norepinephrine receptor inhibitors, and then you have serotonin inhibitors, and a bunch of other like just really cool effects that the kava lactones have on the body when it comes to just causing physical relaxation, right?
Right. And
so when you drink kava, what happens really is this two-pronged effect of happy chemicals, so you feel euphoric, and then the physical relaxation, because when you're talking about like these sodium ion channel blockers and whatnot in the body, it reduces cell excitability, like it causes physical relaxation, the one like a benzo would or something like that, but it doesn't impair you. As long as obviously you stay within the limits,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
Like if you drink 4 cans of Red Bull back to back, you're gonna give yourself a heart attack.
Yeah, right.
And so with kava, it's just like the opposite effect. You just get really just like dopey and just stupid. And so that's why on the bottles we recommend what the general consensus is within the community, within the scientific community, about how many kava lactones you should be having, or the active ingredient per day. And then you feel you have this physical relaxation and euphoric effect. And that was like an aha moment for me when I first tried it, because I was just like, I realized that like I think we're plenty good with energy.
That's right.
No, honestly, like I think like I think like the human body, like we're good with energy, dude.
We are.
I think the problem is that we're so overstimulated and we're so anxious. We feel like we just need to plow through that and just like bulldoze, head down, through the anxiety, through the depression, through the overstimulation. And what kava did for me is it almost like was like, hey, just be still, and it shuts off the noise. And that was like when the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, I just needed the noise to get shut off.
That's it.
And not be impaired in the process. I could still be present and enjoy my family, my kids, my friendships, and especially be functional with work. It made me more efficient with school. It made me more efficient with work. It literally just chilled me out to the point that I wasn't getting in the way of myself.
There you go.
Where I was just like, everything's good. I'm chill, And I feel like the world needs more of that. Again, I'm not saying there isn't a place for prescriptions or energy even.
Right.
Like, I mean, this trip that we just had, I had a little Red Bull here, and because literally I'm going 48 hours and I think maybe 4 hours of sleep, right? So, and I do not advocate for that. I hate when people are like, oh, I only got 3 hours of sleep last night. Like, it is stupid. Unless you absolutely need to, just get your sleep, get your full night's rest, right? But that's like just because of work. That's a marathon we've been on over the last few days. But yeah, dude, we do not need that much stimulants and energy.
That's right.
We just need to chill.
Where do you see this company going?
Dude, like
I know that's such a broad.
No, I gotta have my answer for that. I mean, honestly, long term, I want to eat Red Bull's lunch, dude. I want to.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
No, I think there's plenty of pie to go around. I think what we're doing here is we're creating, like it's already been discussed, we're creating a new market segment within the beverage supplement industry, right?
Yeah.
We are creating a product where it's counterintuitive, where we're trying to tell people, look, just try to relax instead of, relax the body instead of like giving it more stimulants, right? And so we want to kind of kick off this relaxation beverage wave, honestly. And kava is one of the only things out there that, because of its mechanism of action, causes the euphoria, causes the physical relaxation, and it doesn't mess you up. Honestly, it enhances the experience. And I'm not talking about like how weed enhances experiences, right? Like, it enhances the experience in the sense that, like, I don't know. For me, it was almost like I had not had my mind that still or quiet since I was a kid. Because you grow up and it's just like boom, 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 and just life is thrown at you.
Yeah.
At like 120 miles an hour.
Especially nowadays when everything's moving fast.
Yeah, no, and I mean, this is gonna age me, but like when I was in college, we didn't have like iPhones. Man, that makes me feel really old. Wow. But like, iPhones were like barely being rolled out, right? Don't do the math, please. But I see I think the wheels turning in your head, bro.
Hold on, I think I might be with you.
But anyway, we didn't have like social media that like, just this whole like culture of comparison and all that stuff. And that's just increased the anxiety, right? And then on top of that, I mean, you're looking at the economy now, and it is not impossible, but it is tougher for, millennials and Gen Zers to advance in the world. I mean, a lot of opportunities have been taken up or ruined before we even had a chance to like, tackle the market. And so, but I mean, again, no excuse. I feel like, you just got to be that much more innovative and just figure it out. Right. That's it. But yeah, long term, I just feel like I would just love to see it at that level. Not necessarily eat Red Bull's lunch. No, I know. But like see it at that level where, we kicked off this new wave or whatever. And for me, the biggest compliment would be other companies. Like what happened with Red Bull, you had Monster, you had Rockstar come after. I think that's great, dude.
It's flattery.
I mean, it's flattery, and not only that, but it validates the market.
Yeah, it does.
It's like there is something here. There's a demand here, and let's start paying attention to it, right? Sure. And for me, at the end of the day, business is great. Money is great. Don't get me wrong. They're tools to create opportunities for yourself and for good people around you. But, I mean, I'm not planning on living forever, dude. Like, and it's not that I have, an exit strategy plan, like, in place, like, for me to leave sooner. But like, I want to live a long, healthy life. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to take all this crap with me. Yeah. I mean, it's just your legacy. That's all you really leave.
That's it.
And, the legacy that my dad has given me is one of hard work and of integrity and of, trusting that people are good and operating that way. And, I mean, yeah, you're going to run into some bad actors out there here and there. But I really am convinced it's not the world. I really feel like you just learn horrible stuff as you grow up. But I think people are good. And I think naturally people want something that promotes wellness and goodness in the world.
Goodness. Yeah.
Goodness. That's it.
Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's about it. This episode is brought to you by Kaivai. Kava infused, naturally sourced, non-GMO. In a stressed out world full of uppers and stimulants, Kaivai proves that more energy isn't always the answer. Drink Kaivai. This podcast is also brought to you by Aloha Jewels by Rose. Ocean-inspired, authentic, gorgeous gemstone jewelry, handmade. Rose is a computer scientist turned jewelry designer. At Aloha Jewels, you will find personalized jewelry made with the best quality materials and best craftsmanship. This podcast is also brought to you by Dackle, not your average island clothing store. DackleShop.com. Check them out. So the thing I really love about entrepreneurs is like mindset. Like real entrepreneurs are crazy to normal people, like being in chaos.
Just ask my in-laws.
Yeah. I recently heard this, like being in chaos, entrepreneurs thrive. Like we don't see it as chaos. We see it as I don't know. We love it though. It's people around you are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, don't what? But entrepreneurs are like, no, I love it. It's great. I want to talk about humble beginnings, my man.
Oh, okay.
I got to hear about these humble beginnings because.
How far back?
It took a lot for this to be here. This is not just pop up. The bottle itself, the logo, the taste. I mean, everything. I want to hear about how you guys started.
The very, very beginning of
Kaivai? We don't have to go too much, but I mean, the struggles you went through, the adversities, the no's. I'm sure there were a lot of no's and roadblocks. Like what, if we can talk about it, let's take it back.
No, for sure, dude. Let's take it back. Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, man, I just, before I even start talking about our beginnings, like seriously huge, and I'm so upset that he's not with us. He just had his first child, his baby girl. My co-founder, Fine.
But like, shout out honestly, to Fine.
And he knows that this isn't BS and I'm not blowing smoke. Like, I love him, and I was just blessed to have him as my counterpart. I would not have number one, been introduced to kava to begin with, but he, for his age, right? He's a young guy. He's still in college. That guy he just knew how to just keep going and going, keep up the pace. And that is just so rare. And with zero sense of entitlement, which is, it's nice.
Yeah, I love that.
It's nice, right? Because like, and again, I think a lot of it had to do with how many of us were like just brought up in this world. But like, you have a lot of young people who just feel like I deserve it, or this is what I want, and just give it to me. And sometimes they're less than honest about how they go about things to achieve that. And what people don't see most of the time, right? And you know, cases like Finn are just very rare because he was just that type of person. That's his character. Just work hard, never ask questions, never ask for like, what am I gonna get? He just did the work, and then like everything else just kind of just gelled out, right?
Right.
But I think that there's this thing that a lot of young people expect that, like, or they just see, and then it's because of how we are in society. We just put our best foot forward, and we just think that we just came out of the gate like that. And honestly, it's like years of failures, years of people doubting, years of what is he doing, and how does his wife even put up with him like that, and like just comments like crazy, right? And a lot of times people just see the end result. They just see the success, or oh wow, that just popped out of nowhere, right? Like, because this drink, the final version of this, because we had a beta that we launched, a trial run that we launched in the summer. We made some edits to it, but this has only been around since October. It was what 3.5 months?
Yeah.
But like you were saying, there's just so much that goes into that. But first and foremost, again, going back to the point, huge shout out and thank you to my co-founder, because literally he was so awesome, and this thing would have not had taken up the way it did without him. Like, honestly. So I think that's one of the first things is, well, you can't do all the work by yourself. You cannot, and you need to find someone you could trust. And that was for me a blessing, because I don't think I did that much of an effort to find him. Right. It just happened.
Yeah, you go.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm of the mentality that, like, you know, things happen for a reason, even bad stuff. So, but yeah, so it just kind of started off with, again, just us, like, you know, just the whole story about the kitchen and making everything there. And then he started like sharing with his family, and we just started making a bunch of the handmade free stuff for free. And then we slowly started seeing that there was an industry here that already existed, aside from us and our spin to what we were doing. There are a lot of people in the kava game, and some people were very welcoming. Some people were super excited about what we were doing, and then you had some people who just were like, they hope that you failed, dude. And we have such just good, honest, loyal friends and just consumer base that, like, sometimes, dude, I kid you not, they send us screenshots of like other kava companies reaching out to them and talking to them and saying just stuff about us, and for us it's just like, I mean, you can't change people like that, you know? You got to just kind of just put your head down and just keep grinding and keep doing what you do, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be paying your bills. That's right. I mean, you don't have to worry about that. You know, you are in charge of not only your destiny, but your obligations, your responsibilities, and your own success, right? That's right. And so, but it did exist. I don't want people to think that there was no friction when we came into the market. Absolutely, there was friction. Wow. Cultural friction as well. I mean, you had a lot of the older heads who were just like, the heads of kalapus and stuff like that. Were just like, what is this? Not necessarily being negative, but they're just like standoffish. Like, what are they doing? This is our culture and stuff like that. So that's why, again, so much effort into like just making sure we didn't, disrespect anything in that process. But skepticism, I think, was more common. Not so much like negativity, like flat out negativity. Right. There was that. But a lot of it was just skepticism because of ignorance, because they didn't understand what it was. Right. They're like, wait, is it a kava drink? Or what are you guys putting in there? How does it work? And all that stuff. And so, and that was wonderful, because, I mean, at least there was curiosity, right? Right. And so you got to kind of like try to find the opportunities in all these scenarios, right? Because the only alternative to that is failure. Exactly. No. You either do it or you don't. Right. And, failure's not an option. So we just kept going and just getting feedback, and what do you guys think? And we had a few different names we were playing around with just for like the company, and because again, the product came out first before we even had a name for it, right? And so and then it was it was really cool just seeing how like people were just opening up to the idea and then just giving us feedback.
Right.
Feedback was awesome. Like the first like official round of Kaivai, the handmade stuff, was not what it was at the end. We made a lot of like tweaks and iterations of, you know, the original formula, staying true for the most part. But a lot of that came because of the community and people who were just like, you know what? Like we had a guy tell us, like, he's a very well known person within the community. I'm not gonna call him out. He loves it now. He supports the business fully. But initially he was just like, this stuff tastes like lipstick. That's what he was telling me. He was like, this tastes like lipstick. Oh my God, how didn't know lipstick had a taste? But
how do you know what lipstick tastes like? Man? What the?
Yeah, no, this guy, it was really cool though, because he gave us that feedback, and you know, instead of getting offended by it or being like, oh, what the heck, we were like, well, maybe it does taste like lipstick, and we're just not aware of it. So we got some feedback from other people, and we kind of found the underlying concern or you know, consensus around what this guy was trying to get at. We modified it and we tweaked it, and it was better. It was a better product because of that. And we went back to him, and he was just like, "This is great. I want to sell it." All right, there we go. So it was just so cool to just see that sort of support and feedback from the community. And honestly, it's been that cycle nonstop.
Nice. You know, how has the community and I mean like the Pacific Island community reacted to your, you know, to the product?
Oh man, they love it. I mean, honestly, they love it. They love the fact that it doesn't taste like kava. They like the fact that it's to go. You can just shake it up and just take it with you.
No,
and
that's a big one. Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's a big one.
And then they love the fact and again, like you just said, and I just always love hearing that because it just makes me not feel like I'm being a total jerk about, you know, the product and the culture. But like there's a sense of appreciation. They can tell that we've made the effort, right? And it's not like I want people like celebrating me, but I don't want people like being like, dude, what are you doing with my culture either? So I'm just really. So as long as people are just continuing to say that and then sharing it, dude. I mean, that was, I think, one of the things that I was just completely floored and honored about was people like saying like, this represents my culture. Like this is what my culture is putting out, right? Which honestly, like at the end of the day, it is the culture. Yeah. I mean, it honestly is, but we didn't know how it fit within there, right? Within the culture, and for people to go and just be like, yeah, this is kava and kava to go, and yeah, man, and sharing it with their like, you know, the Palangi friends and all these people, like and then seeing other people get excited about it, man, it's just like so awesome because like that has always been the dream for Kaivai, is that like, yeah, we want to start off with the poly community because that is our foundation, right? But at the end of the day, this is like from the poly community to the world, right? The same way like chocolate came out of like, you know, Latin America, right? And you know, it has Hispanic roots, Latin roots. A lot of people don't know that. Coffee, came from Ethiopia, and so you know, we could thank Africa for coffee, right? But you know, we do so much like, you know, planting stuff here and moving things around that like a lot of times we lose the genesis of where all these different foods come from that are just so common in society, and that's kind of what I want to do with kava and Kaivai. Yeah, is I want to make it a staple within society and have people though always understand this is Polynesian. That's right. No one knows that chocolate was like the food of the gods for, you know, the indigenous cultures of America. It was a delicacy, right? And a lot of people don't know that coffee came from Africa. Yeah. And yet we consume it, and the culture's been totally lost, right? And yeah, same with kava. I did not want that to happen because it is such a rich, powerful culture. Right. And it's I take to the culture a lot because there's a lot of like, I mean, if I were to have you stay over at my mom and dad's house with me one of these days, dude, you'd be like, dang, dude, there's a lot of like poly vibes up in here. Yeah, because like it's just we're very tribal people, family centric,
family oriented. Yep, big time.
But at the same time, we're very open, we're very welcoming until people mess with us, and then we stomp on your head, right? Yeah. But like I really connected with that, and so for me, I was like, I don't want to lose that. That's so freaking awesome to keep that around. So yes, long answer short, we've had a generally overwhelmingly positive reaction from the poly community, and that is for me the biggest honor. Yeah, honestly.
We live in such a such a crazy world, but actually I feel like this is one of the best times to be alive. You know,
Oh yeah, man.
Social media is a blessing and a curse.
Oh yeah.
But having you guys here is not, just because of Kaivai. It's everything that you guys have built. Especially you and Fine. Like, and so I heard about you guys through a football player over at BYU, Renzo.
Dude.
And he tagged me in one of you guys' pictures. He was like, "Yo, check it out. Like you gotta try." And I was like, "What is this?" So I did my research, 3:00 in the morning, like I always do, staring at the computer, and I'm re-looking, and I'm like, "Man, like I can't believe this can't be real. This is probably it probably just tastes like kava. There's no, there's nothing to it." And then when I took a sip, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it hit. It hits. It really does hit. It really is kava in a bottle. But what I'm saying about our times is like social media brings people together a lot more than they used to. Like you guys are from Utah. I'm actually from Alaska, who recently moved to Vegas, and in the span of it's been maybe a month now. We've been talking back and forth. Like I would probably never run into you ever in my life if it wasn't for social media. I would never have met you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have probably heard about Kaivai maybe 10 years from now from somebody. You know what I mean? So like social media is so crazy. Have you seen what has been the benefits of social media? And like I know you're taking pictures and stuff like that, and like have you seen the effects of social media to you guys' business and like what happened to me, like bringing us closer together?
Yeah. Well, it's my thoughts, and I'll defer to Mason. But like for me, like Kaivai is a Instagram company.
I love it.
It is. That's how we connect with everybody.
Yeah.
That's how we connected with the community. That's how we got a lot of feedback. That's how, it was a great tool in connecting people with, common interests and cultures or cultural components like all together. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, growing Kaivai was, Instagram specifically was just such a huge blessing in being able to facilitate those communications and awareness more than anything. Yeah. Because people just don't know about kava.
Exactly.
And if they do know about kava, a lot of it's not like the greatest, right? So so we're just like, it's harder than just educating someone on a product. You're re-educating people on a product because whatever conceptions there are out there on kava, a lot of them aren't positive. And it's just like kava's a great thing. It's not chemically habit forming, right? So, your body doesn't build a tolerance really necessarily to it. There's actually a reverse tolerance component to kava. Like the more you drink, the more sensitive your body becomes to it. Mm-hmm. So that's true. So it's a great compound. It's just removing it. And we have a good friend of ours, Dr. Afa Palu, who now we just onboarded as our chief science officer. He helps a lot. Because again, I don't know everything, and this guy, like, he has a PhD in like so many different things in botany and all this stuff, and he studied specifically kava and the noni berry.
Oh yeah.
And so dude. So this guy, he came to us. He approached us on one occasion when we were first starting out, and again through social media, and he was all like, "I want to meet with you guys," and we're like, "All right, cool." So I hope he doesn't mind me sharing the story, but it was just it really is. I said it like just with all my heart. It was so flattering to, number one, have him reach out because he's very well known and respected within the community. And then we met with him, and he's like, "Well, you guys know my reputation." And we're like, "Yeah, you're pretty much anti-kava, right?" And he was just like, "No, I'm not anti-kava. Kava is great. It's a huge part of our culture and community. I'm against kava abuse. I'm against fathers ditching their families who mix all night and then skip out on their responsibilities and obligations the next day. I'm against, kava becoming a priority in a man's life and making it a guy's club where you got toas who sometimes they're trouble, and stuff like that." Then this man was a pastor, a bishop within the Latter-day Saint Church.
Gotcha.
And he told us stories about how like kava just the cultural abuse, I guess, of it. Just hurt so many families. He's like, I haven't met one wife that's ever said something positive about her husband drinking kava. He's like, it's always been a negative thing. And he goes, but I like what you guys are doing because you're removing it from that context. Right. And he goes, and honestly, the way that we have kava bars and lounges and all this stuff now, which, again, don't get me wrong, I think they're cool sometimes. I go and dip in and say hi and drink a little bit and just go home. if it's early enough in the day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like he's like that's not polyculture.
Yeah.
What happened was that kava came from the islands, and it was very cultural and sacred out in the
ceremonial,
islands. Ceremonial, right? And then they brought it out here, and it got intertwined with alcohol culture out here, and you had the whole bar thing, and the way that even people like use certain phrases like, oh, I feel wasted, or dude, I feel faded or stuff like that, right? You know, even the way that we express ourselves about kava, we express it in the same way we would weed or alcohol. And so he's all like, that is not kava culture. That's not what it
is, yeah.
He goes, kava culture is about being able to unify communities and have people come together and be responsible, and more importantly, not abandon their homes, their lives. I mean, that's priority out there in the islands. I'm like, well, heck yeah, dude. I mean, we could agree on that. The Hispanics, Latinos, I mean, we're the same way. And so I'm not saying white people aren't.
Shout out to Mason.
I'm sure they are. Shout out to Mason.
It's good to be here, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, and so you know, when he said that, I was just like, awesome, man. This is so great, man. It was so cool for us to hear, you know, again, through social media, have these interactions and really know what people think, right? And not only know what they think, but even in the case of Dr. Paulo, like have him become like a friend, an ally, like an associate, someone who believes in the mission and the cause and moves it forward. Mason, he's the chief growth officer, so he kind of took you know, the whole Instagram and everything over, and now it's, you know, okay, we're good with the poly community, but then now you got this whole like thing where it's just like, and that's where he's really been successful and helpful with, is how do we take this and really start sharing it with new demographics? Yeah, because it was new for him too, right? I mean, you got a cool story.
How was your kava experience, Mr. Mason?
Oh man!
Shout out to Mr. Mason.
Thanks for having me. No, it was good. It was good. There's a lot of things that, I mean, everything Doug says is just poetry, and everything I say is not as nice.
Get out of here. Okay, I need to know. You brought this upon yourself. I just need to clarify. This guy is like Hollywood, right? He's like actor, director, producer. He's super low key about it.
Red carpet in it.
But he's in it. He's in it. So
let's go.
No, you want
for real though. No, my background.
You want poetry, doctor?
Yeah. So my background is in film, and then my background is also in fitness, in the fitness industry. And so when I was introduced to kava, the fitness industry is like instantly where my mind went. I was like, all right, you got this product here that has antioxidant properties, anti-inflammatory properties. This is a post-workout drink. This is how you connect to those demographics who haven't heard of kava yet. And that was my first thought. Again, there's the struggle. As chief growth officer, I have to think, it was like, you know, how do I present this to new people, new worlds who've never heard of kava without completely you know, crushing what it was built on in the culture that kava is, and its people. And so through Instagram, as you brought up, I mean, we are an Instagram company, and that's a great way to visually still pay tribute to those cultures, to the Polynesian cultures, is not ever losing that imagery, vibrant colors, positive attitude, even, you know, just like he said, the surf culture. Yeah. Our company culture is the Polynesian culture. Yeah. So we're not trying to adapt and change it into anything. We're just trying to spread that to new people, new cultures. The next thing I found in this, I'm an 8-year sober addict.
Ooh, congratulations, sir. 8 years.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And that was my next kind of, I guess, light bulb into, I stand for what this is, because the properties in this can help overcome withdrawals. It has anti-tolerant properties, so it will help you to naturally build those dopamines, those relaxation feelings, those euphoric feelings.
I need to interrupt here. This is really cool. Yeah. This is where the nerd. I'm sorry. This is the geek in me.
Genius talk.
But no. There are studies. There was studies done by the National Institute of Health. Kava has actually anti-craving agents. Ooh. It was a study that was done against like some really heavy substances. So we're talking about like nicotine and alcohol, but they're like there was a cocaine, amphetamines, and like all kinds of really heavy drugs. And in every case, it worked way better over the placebo without getting way too sciencey, right?
Yeah.
So there are properties there that are anti-craving that help people kind of wean off this stuff. And we've heard of people who actually like run clinics and stuff like that who like try to get people shifted over to kava. Or they make that recommendation at least. So right. So anyways, continue.
Oh, very good to know. Genius talk.
I look at that and I'm like, from an industry in the film world where addiction is just
that's right.
Now a part of it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and it's like, you know what, man? You can put this on sets. You can bring this.
That's right.
And here's a whole new culture that really has yet to discover kava.
That's right.
And so with my skills and just, I don't know, camera, video work, I'm just trying my best to capture it in a photo or in video and then to present that to the world so we can take what has, honestly, in my opinion, been one of the greatest earthly kept secrets.
There you go. I'm telling you, it is.
Share it with the
it
world.
It is.
Especially with those people who are just a little too high strung and probably need to relax a little bit.
Oh, good point. That's good, man. The reason, another big reason why I do this podcast, not only to celebrate, guys like you, but also to educate those and inspire those who might be thinking about it, who are going through it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I want both of you guys to answer this. What words of wisdom would you give a young entrepreneur or someone that's just wanting to change their world, even if it's a little world, to do something with their life? What words of wisdom or advice would you give that individual?
That's a great question. I could go on for days, but I think the biggest part is it's the character that makes the person. So no one can tell you no unless it's yourself. Ooh. And so you're gonna have rejection. That's life. People are gonna come at you and be like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Kava in a bottle, no, it's not happening. But the only person who can actually tell you no is yourself. So if you refuse to hear it and you use the strength of character to persevere, then you're gonna be all right.
That's a good one. That is a good one. How about you, Mr. Doug?
Yeah, no, just echoing that. My parents were immigrants from Chile. I was my first language is actually Spanish.
Nice.
I am ESL. Proud of it.
ESL.
Proud of it. But they and I think they made all these sacrifices so that I could just even be born in this country, right? And just anyone in the U.S. who's hearing this, especially, outside, great, but like here in the U.S., man, you're just so blessed with opportunities, man. I think the biggest piece of advice is stay positive, because literally the positivity and having that positivity be well rooted in something, right? Like for me, and this is just what I am, and this is my own beliefs, and it's kind of been infused a little bit in the company culture. But like I'm a devout Christian, man, and I really do feel like there's a God out there, and he sees and watches everything, and dude, you could deceive the whole world, man.
Yes, sir.
You're never gonna deceive God, and I think that at the end of the day, what he wants for his children more than anything is just to be kind to each other and just stay positive. You are gonna have some, again, bad actors out there who don't have regard for those things. They, for whatever reason, whether they're born that way or raised that way, and even then I try not to judge as much. They just don't care about being kind. They don't care about helping people stay positive and just doing good and putting good out there. You have to avoid people like that. You have to shut that noise and negativity out. And, push come to shove, when that negativity is at your door, you got to push against it. And you got to know where your values are and where you stand. and I think everything else just kind of falls into place. I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, right? I mean, and you got to persevere and have that grit and tenacity, and and never give up, or whatever. Honestly, though, the best piece of advice I got from someone who was at a wedding party is just like be positive and stay kind. There's a successful person I know, in the medical world, and he just gave that advice. Just, someone asked him like, what his advice would be. Same thing, question like how, people and young people, and he's just like, just be kind and stay positive, and that's it. And honestly, that was like so simple. I'm like, but it's just so hard. It's so hard nowadays for people to do that, and and recycle. Don't be a jerk.
Don't recycle.
Recycle. Don't be a jerk. That's my advice, man. Please recycle, man. It's not that hard, man. Plastic recycles, glass recycles. It all recycles. Just get in the habit of just.
There you go.
Get in there and just put it in the proper bin. Dispose of it properly.
Let's go, man.
Save the turtles, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys coming on the show. I had breakfast with these guys at the Bellagio.
That was so fun, dude.
I'm just letting y'all know, Bellagio. I'm still new to Vegas. Bellagio is lit. It's so nice over there. It's the Chinese New Year. I had breakfast with these guys at Bellagio. That what I mean by that is I've sat with these guys. I've talked with these guys. I've hugged them all, even Mr. Cholo here. I shout him out.
Yeah, shout out.
These guys are great guys. When you buy these bottles, know that you're buying it from a great company. I can just tell by their CEO, their founders, that they have a great team behind them. Just looking at the bottle itself, it's so beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
It's so beautiful. This is so classy. This is so nice, and it's kava. They've taken the time. You can read everything on the back on their website, and you can read the history behind this whole thing. It's great. If you go on their Instagram page, you'll see all the pictures and videos that they put up. They're really doing their homework. They're really doing their research. They really take this shit seriously.
Thank you, sir.
And I love it. I've sat with these guys.
That.
They're great guys. I wouldn't lie to you. Drink Kaivai is an amazing drink. Tufa, who couldn't be here today, like me, we love this. We fell in love with this.
Yeah.
That case was supposed to be for show. We drank all of it. There were so many empty bottles.
That's the point, right?
Yeah,
so
man. I was like, dude.
Well.
I appreciate you guys for coming. I want to say it again. I appreciate you guys keeping the culture in mind, keeping the community in mind while you're doing this. You guys aren't just taking off with it. You guys, Fina is half Tongan. They also are in Utah, and of course we have a huge Pacific Island community out there. They're not doing it on their own. They have us in there with them, and I appreciate that. I love that. Thank you guys so much for coming in today.
I just like to say real quick, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and the community, honestly, man. I mean, it means a lot. It really means a lot. For me, I mean, people may have like whatever thoughts, and again, there are few and far in between, but like about the drink, and maybe they weren't always positive. But again, like the overwhelming consensus has been just support and people just being so kind. And again, for the exception of very few outliers, and every community has them, I've never felt more at home with the community. I'll be very honest.
I love my people. I love my people. That's what we do.
They've been nothing but kind and supportive and trusting with something that is so special and sacred to the community. And so I just want to say thank you. Where's the camera? Is that
it is right there.
Yeah. Thank you. Like from the bottom of not just my heart, but my co-founder and everybody else who works next to us with us on all this. It has been such a great ride. Huge honor. And yeah, we just hope we just want the opportunity to just keep working hard and keep earning, you guys' trust and creating great opportunities within the community. So thank you. Thank you for having us, man.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the SupaflySua podcast, sitting here with Mr. Doug, Mr. Mason of Drink Kaivai. You guys have a great day. Spread love, not hate. Chee!
There we go.